Hi, welcome back to Maybe Actually Museums Are For Me. I'm Alex Pavljuk, your host of this podcast. We try to dive into a lot of different topics and raise different questions for each episode. And I think recently, as we've started to talk to, more artists and, people involved with not only like the museums, like, the inner workings of the museum, whether it's like Wanda from the AACC or like some of our community partners like Liz Samuel, I think some of the questions that we like to present to people have kind of gotten not lost, but I think have taken a backseat to these broader conversations, which I love having and I think are so valuable. But I kind of wanted to, in this episode, get back to the root of why we do this show and making the museum and museums in general, the arts in general, more accessible and more open and provide people with maybe more insight as to like what else a museum offers. And in fact, there's plenty. We talk about often our classes or our programming or our events or, our Free First Thursday, which is like a chance for people to hang out and, shop and drink and watch a live music, eat at a food truck, enjoy the galleries for free. But on a day-to-day operational basis, there's more here than just the galleries. On Sundays, we have Sunday Studio, which is a great chance for families to come and make art together. Obviously Friday and Saturday, we have our cafe, which is open. And I think most poignantly with the, kind of focus of this episode is our museum store, the gift shop. The shop at MAM is a really great asset that, we have. And it's evolved over the years. And, I think what it does is that it kind of treats its existence differently than other museums' gift shops or even like organizations' gift shops. You've been to like Disney World and been like on one of the famous rides. Like I know like the Rock and Roller Coaster has like its own gift shop after, and it's kind of cheesy and gimmicky. What this kind of reconfiguration of a museum store does is it treats it more like a boutique you'd find on any, downtown street in, Main Street, USA. It's really incredible. And I think talking with Jess, who joins us for this episode, is that she really looks at it in a different light. She comes from a fashion background and has really put a lot of effort into giving voice to local artists, local, artisans who can, not only use MAM as an outlet to sell their work, but showcase themselves alongside the work on view here at MAM. So this is my long-winded way of asking the question, what else is there to do at a museum? Hi, Jess.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Alex?
Good. Thank you for coming on the show. I know you did not want to be here, but you're here, and I'm so thankful you're here.
Thank you.
For people who are not familiar with you, who are you?
I am Jessica. I am the Retail and Visitor Services Manager.
Oh, but you do so much more.
I do a lot, yeah. I run the gift shop. I also am the Visitor Services Manager and the Cafe Manager.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that, for me, when I go to a new museum, I always, whether intentionally or not, stumble into the gift shop.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And same. I think at a lot of institutions, especially I think of like the big ones in New York, or I was just down in DC back in I guess it was November, December, whenever. I was down in DC. I visited the National Gallery and saw some of their stuff. And I think a lot of the time it's merch in regards to like the branding of the museum and their biggest heavy hitting artworks. And I think what I love about the MAM shop, the MAM store, is the fact that it feels like you're going into a real shop that isn't necessarily branded, begging you to buy, a MAM branded t-shirt. Certainly we have them.
We do.
And they're lovely.
Thank you.
But it's these, hand like thrown pottery and this incredible jewelry that like a lot of it's done by like indigenous artists, like the earrings that are there in the shop. There's artwork by local artists for sale. Like it feels much more like you're walking into a boutique down on Valley Road or Bloomfield Ave, rather than the way that I think we perceive a museum gift shop. And I think that is a testament to the work that you've done. And
thank you.
I'm just curious, like, what is your like philosophy, I guess, in like the retail side of like a museum? Because you think of a museum and it's galleries, it's art, it's, you know, maybe classes in our case.
Yeah.
Not necessarily shopping, but I feel like you've really turned it into like an actual like place to get people gifts that they're not going to go, oh, thanks, you visited the Montclair Art Museum, not me.
Exactly. Yeah. That's funny that you mentioned boutique, because that's kind of like what we always kind of aim to do with the gift shop, kind of make it like an all, you know, one-stop shop for anything gift related. So I definitely like to have a variety, you know, lots of selections for different people, whether you like jewelry, pottery, like you mentioned, indigenously made jewelry, which is something that we've been definitely tried to implement a lot more of, which has been selling really well. But yeah, we get a lot of compliments from visitors that come in and they love the gift shop, which makes me really happy, of course. And yeah, I have a little bit of a retail background, which I think helped me, and I studied fashion studies, so I learned about merchandising.
I forgot you studied fashion
studies.
Oh my God.
So, you know, I feel like that, you know, my background kind of helps me curate the store, and I like to keep it interesting, and I definitely listen to a lot of customer feedback also, which helps a lot. And we have our own man brand line now, hoping to extend that soon. Yeah. So
you mentioned something that it's funny that it's just a connection that I'm making, but the past, including this one now, but these past 3 episodes, we've really kind of been diving into the intersection of arts and arts adjacent things, or things that are certainly the arts, but aren't necessarily maybe at first glance perceived of that. We had Liz Samuel on the podcast, who just hosted Montclair Story Salon, which at the time of recording this was last night and was a huge success. And that was incredible. But we talked about the intersection of art and storytelling. I had Wanda Crowdy on, who's the interim committee chair of the AACC, and we talked about the intersection of, you know, community in the arts. And I think us kind of talking now, I'm seeing, especially forgetting and now being reminded of your fashion background, that like there is such a deep and interesting connection between fashion and the arts. I know
definitely
many moons ago, I think I was still in high school, I visited the Met, and they had a fashion show in their basement gallery that was just incredible. And yeah, like I just, sorry, I don't have more of a prompt than that, because it just came to mind. But talk to me a little bit about that.
No, that's fine. I mean, well, I studied, it was fashion studies, so I got like a wide, you know, range of things I learned about the marketing of fashion, buying, so all those different aspects, and then retail and management. So a little bit of everything. So, you know, I definitely use that information still to, you know, do my buying for the store. And yeah, fashion is definitely a different form of art, but for sure it's art, it's a form of expression. So, you
know, I think back to shows like Vanessa German, which obviously is not like fashion directly, because it's lost objects, found objects that are being repurposed into these sculptures, but they're depictions of people wearing like adorning clothing. You know, even though there might be like a tennis racket and a soccer ball and, you know, a to-go wrapper used to create it, there's a sculptural element of, you know, hearkening to fashion. And yeah, I mean, do you have any like favorite designers or anybody that like come to mind that like you view as artists, you know, that more so than just like in the sense? Maybe that's like too pointed of a question. I really don't have a favorite fashion designer, to be honest. Okay, that's fine.
It's more like I just kind of, I just love the whole putting together an outfit and, just kind of wearing whatever you want to wear.
Yeah, and I think the curation of it too
Yes,
is a really,
exactly.
important part that obviously you get to do a lot of
Yeah.
at the store.
For sure.
I guess in regards to like some of the made artwork, I mean, I know right now currently there's not a ton of local artists that are selling, but in the past we've sold plenty of stuff from local artists. And talk to me about that community connection and the importance of providing an outlet for local artists, working artists to sell their work.
Yeah, we definitely have a few, just a few selections from local artists. We have some prints and some greeting cards. We also have from Siona Benjamin, who exhibited here. We have her scarves, silk scarves, which are beautiful and they sell really well. And prints by her also. We also have candles from a local artist. All based either in Montclair or, around the
North
area.
Jersey, Essex County
exactly.
area.
Which I think is really important. I think it's great to be able to sell their merchandise in our shop, and I'm hoping to get more of that soon, hopefully. So
yeah. And then one of the other things you do, among all of the many hats that we all wear, but you especially wear a lot of hats, is you help coordinate and manage the cafe here at the museum, which is a really incredible partnership with Cornerstone Montclair that provides employment to individuals with disabilities of varying degrees, and it's great. The cafe's open Fridays and Saturdays here at MAM.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
You're a big fan.
I'm a frequent flyer Friday
Yes.
mornings. Me and my coworker Melissa. I should say co-host. She's always on. I always drag her onto the pod
there
too.
you go. Yeah.
But yeah, like talk to me a little bit about that partnership. I know Frances Smith, who was on the show way back in the beginning episodes, is kind of the nucleus of that, of getting that situated here at MAM. But obviously you are connected to it, and I think it's a great thing to highlight, even if brief. I talked to Wendy Lacey, who was she runs Cornerstone General Store. She was there today at the cafe, and I want to have her on the show. But
she visits frequently to the cafe, which I think is great. And we just got a new pastry that we featured. It was a hit.
Melissa was so excited about it.
Really?
She got one. It was the spinach one, right?
The spinach one,
yes.
Yep. But that's been really fun. I enjoy, I really want to try to bring in, different ideas to the cafe, selling different things. I've never done cafe work before, really, but
I've never done social media work, but here I am.
But I'm a fan of coffee.
Yeah, you make it work. Yeah, you make it work.
Yeah, and the team is really great to work with. So yeah, it's a great addition, because we had visitors often ask, "Do you have a cafe?" And now we can actually say yes, we do.
Say yes.
Yep.
I know I don't want to keep you for too long because I know you're busy, but thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
And doing this episode, about the shop and about, just like, I feel like the thing that like people don't realize is the museum is alive in many more ways than just what's on view in the galleries. I think that's the point of this show in a lot of ways. And, that stems from like obviously more of our like forward facing stuff, like our classes and our summer camp and, our programming, like last night at the Story Salon, or, a Free First Thursday, which is huge. But the store is one of the things that is happening and around and available for people. Same with the cafe.
Yep.
Can you just talk to me a little bit about, I think in closing, how having things like a store and a cafe and, options for people to experience on a weekend when we're opening, not only like add to like the museum experience, but maybe can be a gateway for people to join us for the first time. Not even us, but any institution for the first time. Like the MoMA Design Store is incredible. I know it's mostly
check it out,
mostly online. I think, I don't know if they have a storefront, but
MoMA?
I think MoMA. Yeah, it's like they sell like furniture and stuff. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, they do it funky. But yeah, it's like things like that. It's just like such a cool, unique way to blend, obviously the fine arts with the arts, like whether it's fashion or jewelry or, pottery. It's great.
Yeah, visitors, they come in, view the galleries, and then usually at the end they'll come in to the gift shop and hopefully walk away with something, whether it's a little, ma'am sticker, ma'am t-shirt, or a gift for someone, or even just a greeting card.
Yeah.
It kind of ties everything all together, and then they can head down to the cafe and, relax for a little, have some coffee, a nice croissant.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, it's just really great to be we offer a lot to our visitors. So there's always something to do here, which is really, really fun. Keeps it fun and interesting.
Absolutely. Well, Jess, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate you joining the podcast for this episode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That was Maybe Actually Museums Are For Me. Thank you so much, Jess, for being a part of this episode. It was really great getting to chat with you and, just break down the walls about, what a museum is and can be for visitors. It's really great. And, if you haven't been to the shop yet on your next visit, you should totally swing by and say hi to Jess. Anyway, that was Maybe Actually Museums Are For Me. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this episode. If you're interested in visiting us, we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We are also open the first Thursday of most months. This month, March, this week, actually, tomorrow. This airs Wednesday. Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow is Free First Thursday. If you're listening to this on your drive Thursday morning, just know there's a free event at the museum tonight. Mind you, if you're listening to this in a year from now, you've missed it, and I'm sorry. But let's hope you're not. Now, before you tune out of this episode, I do have one last kind of out of left field thing to talk about before we go. So recently we've become pretty good friends with another podcast in the area, because what I've come to find out, there's plenty of podcasts in Montclair and we all got to support each other. And I wanted to just share with you the trailer to the show by our friends over at the Montclair Pod. The Montclair Pod is a really great brand new podcast on the Montclair podcast scene. They dive into, the topics that we all as residents of Montclair kind of, wonder and are curious about. They range from the school board to commuting to ghosts. In fact, the museum is actually featured in their recent episode on the ghosts of Montclair. It's pretty exciting stuff. We love Farnoosh, Michael, and Allie. They're the best. We just wanted to shout them out and ask that if you support this podcast, maybe you should consider supporting them. They're really incredible, and the work that they're doing is really, quite frankly, more journalism than it is anything else. It's really great stuff. Their most recent episode is dealing with all things transit, getting to and from New York from Montclair, and, the dreaded commute. So without further ado, I just wanted to share, which is going to, play right now, the trailer for their show. They've been, going pretty strong for a couple weeks now. So this is just kind of an overview of what they do. So again, if you have the time and maybe your drive is a little bit longer than normal and you want to tune into their most recent episode, we encourage you to do that. You can find them by searching the Montclair Pod anywhere you stream podcasts. All right, without further ado, the Montclair Pod.
This is so exciting.
Okay, are we counting us in?
Well, 3, 2, 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But 2 and 1 are silent, right?
Yes.
Oh, really?
5, 4, 3.
Welcome to the Montclair Pod, your ultimate place for all things Montclair, New Jersey.
Or what do they call it? The Park Slope of New Jersey? That is a lie.
I feel like that's completely accurate.
Okay, I'm Farnoosh.
I'm Allie.
I'm Michael.
And the three of us had a crazy idea. Let's start a podcast about this town that we love so much. What has possessed us?
It's a very buzzy town, and I really want this show to be a resource for people who are thinking about moving here, who just moved here and are trying to figure it out, but also for people who predate all of us and are looking for an unvarnished, fun look at this place that we all live in, which is objectively an interesting place. I mean, There's an episode of Mad Men all about how cool Montclair is.
Really?
I wouldn't say it's not all about that, but like
You oversold it.
This is our first season, our debut season. We've come out with some topics that we think are central to what this town cares about, such as what the heck is going on with the real estate market?
Oh, it's insane. Best and final on Tuesday, right? Whatever it is. Feels a little ick.
Feels a little ick.
We're also going to be talking to politicians, both on the national level and local level. A lot of people have a lot of opinions about this town.
It's also kind of a quirky town, and the people are super interesting. You know, you could be at Java Love or at a restaurant or in the park, and you run into people. For example, Mike and I recently ran into our mayor, Dr. Renee Baskerville, at none other than Just Jake's.
You never know who you're going to see.
She was cool.
And she's still working as a school pediatrician in East Orange. She's going to give a great interview. I think we also need to break some news. That is a personal goal.
Okay, you're on it. Go.
I want to talk to the people that have been here a long time. I think that's really important to get their take on how the town has evolved or how it's not evolved
Oh my God.
in a lot of ways.
One of our closest friends, she grew up here
Yeah.
and still lives in her original neighborhood. Sometimes I'll say shit and she'll just look at me and the eyes will roll. And I know I've made an ass of myself. We will probably do that every now and then, but
We're not going to do that.
No, oh, you guys, just me? I'm the only idiot? Okay, keep us honest, people.
We have a hotline, everybody. You go to montclairpod.com.
Voice your thoughts, questions, opinions about Montclair, and we'd love to share it with our listeners.
You can feel free to leave us compliments too, because we're very sensitive.
Subscribe to the Montclair Pod today. Don't miss a single episode as we explore the heartbeat of Montclair, one story at a time. Thanks for listening, and see you in town.